This is my Orsini XD4 helmet, arguably the best adventure bike helmet on the market, but it does have one huge flaw. Due to the shape of the shield, a pen lock will not work on this, nor does Orsini offer one anymore. So when it gets rainy or really humid, this thing fogs up and you can't see out of it at all. Orsini does offer an anti-fog shield for it now, but it comes in at about 80 bucks. So we're gonna try something else. That something else is an anti-fog visor insert from WePro that you can pick up off Amazon for about 20 bucks. So in today's video, we're gonna install it. I'm gonna test it out this upcoming weekend and share with you my thoughts on, is it worth the 20 bucks or not? All right, so the first thing we need to do is crack this package open to see if there's some install instructions. Now it does say, superior anti-fog performance, optical clarity, strong adhesion, no pens required, universal fit, easy to apply. There is an Orsini specific one. I guess I could have tried out, but this one I could get here quicker, so that's why I went with this one. All right, so we got a cloth there. We obviously have our insert here, and we've got some installation instructions. So I'm gonna read through these, and then I'm gonna get this shield cleaned up. The installation instructions are pretty straightforward. We're just gonna line this cross up in the middle of our visor. But one thing we need to do first is actually get our visor shield, whatever you wanna call it, cleaned up. Okay, so in the case of the Orsini, especially the XD4, we don't have a quick release. You can use a coin to spin these screws out. In my case, I'm out in the garage, so I'm just gonna use a screwdriver. And we need to do this to the other side as well. I'm gonna take our peak off. And we should be able to pop our visor off. And one thing I've got here are a couple of clean terry cloth or microfiber towels to set this down on. I'm going to go inside. I'm going to use some mild detergent and warm water along with a microfiber towel and get this thing all cleaned up and dried up, and then we'll come back out here and get that anti-fog insert installed. Okay, so I got my visor cleaned up inside now. Just used a little bit of Dawn dishwashing soap and a nice soft towel to clean it up. It's just temporarily set back on the helmet. You notice I don't have any of the bolts or screws or anything in. What we want to do now is remove this from our packaging, and we want to grab, and we don't want to get the rest of this dirty, but we want to grab the red tab here like I just did, and then we want to position this on the outside of our helmet. It might be a little hard to see. There's a crosshair in there. We want to put it right in the middle. The other thing we need to do here, there's a couple of little, can be a little hard to see. A couple little remove tabs here. This is the sticky back that we're going to need. Of course, I put nitrile gloves on, so of course it'll make it more difficult. All right, I got the first one off. This, you don't have to worry about getting your fingerprints or anything on it because this is just temporary. Okay, now we want to take this and get it dead center of the helmet or of the visor, shield, whatever you want to call it. And you do have the ability to adjust it a little bit if you need to, which I'm going to mess around with here. Let me get you a close-up shot with a photo. So in looking at this, I probably should have got the Orsini specific one because it's got the little cutouts, but if you just hug these all the way up at the top, we should be fine because it doesn't look like anything's going to hit down here on the little nose peak. Next thing we want to do is pop the shield back off, move the helmet out of the way for now, and we're just going to flip it upside down like this. This will actually, I'll get a photo of this. This will give you a better idea of what this crosshair looks like. Now, even though I just cleaned it up and it doesn't actually call for this, I am going to take this included microfiber cloth and we're just going to wipe down in here one last time, make sure we've got no lint, because anything that's on here is going to get sealed in just a few moments, so be extra careful. All right, so next up we want the blue tab facing up, and what we're going to try to do here is align these two crosshairs, and then we want to push from the inside out to seal this glue strip. So let's see how good I can do this. I'm going to take the rag, press out, seal all this glue. Got it lined up pretty good. Won't say it's perfect, but it's pretty close. We got to make sure this glue seals around here because we don't have a pen lock. This is what's going to create that little bit of separation and not allow this thing to fog up anymore. Once you feel like you've got it good and sealed, then we're going to grab the blue tab and we're going to peel this protective layer off. And then out here on the outside, we no longer need this red piece either. You just take it off. And we now have an anti-fog insert on the inside of the shield. Now, whether or not it works, that's something we're going to have to test out. But next, I want to get the shield back on the helmet along with the peak and everything else. So let me do that. So this is a relatively straightforward process. Just make sure, you know, I've got mine in the down position. You've got them over these pins and you're over this little wheel. And then we're simply going to take our peak and screw the bolts back in on each side. But, you know, be careful, don't over tighten them because they're obviously just plastic and you don't want to strip them out. All right, so you see we got the screws in, we got the peak and the visor, shield, whatever you want to call it, back on. Make sure everything operates as it should. Mine is not touching on this little gasket down here, so we should be all good. Tried it on. The clarity of it's fine. I don't notice anything impaired there, but obviously I haven't tested it out, so I'm going to go test it out this weekend, and then we're going to come back here, and I'm going to let you know how the thing performed. All right, so now we're going to hop into the review portion of the video, and yes, I did leave my tailgate at some point because I've had this anti-fog shield on my ride now for about 6-7 weeks, about 1,500, 2,000 miles that I've ridden with this helmet on. And I'm finally ready to share my thoughts on how well it works. So I did ride it in rainy conditions, rode it in super humid conditions, rode it in foggy conditions, rode it all the way locked down off-road to see if I could get it to fog up. Also rode it at nighttime, which I'll get into in a moment. Under all those conditions, could never get it to fog up. It would fog up down below where the anti-fog lens is, but it would not fog up in the anti-fog lens area, which is covering, you know, probably 85–90% of this shield at this time. So it actually works. Did test it out at night. Typically pen lock shields, you know, if you actually read the manual on them, they tell you you shouldn't have them in at night because it'll create some flare with people's oncoming headlights. Personally, didn't notice any difference with this. It was about the same. I've got a clear shield on there, so there's always going to be a little bit of flare when somebody's headlights are hitting it. Didn't notice any difference between having the anti-fog in versus not having it in. So, 20 bucks, it actually works, and it's a hell of a lot better than the $80 that I would have had to spend on the anti-fog shield directly from a rye. So if you've got some sort of helmet that either there's not a pen lock solution available, or you don't want to spend the big money on the anti-fog lens, or maybe neither one are available and you just need something to keep your shield from fogging up, I would definitely check into this. It's worth the 20 bucks. Now, a couple of things to be aware of. Number one, take your time on the install. Obviously, you know, I was very careful in cleaning the shield up before I put everything on. I was very careful in getting everything lined up, and it works great. If you rush that process, you only get one chance at it, and if you don't get it on there right the first time, you're out 20 bucks and you got to buy another one and test, you know, try it out again. The other thing I probably would have done different is next time I probably would order the Orsini specific anti-fog lens for it because it does have the cutouts around these little vents. It would have been a little bit cleaner, but at the end of the day, I'm really happy with this setup. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, considering that subscribe button, because if you like motorcycles, well, this is the place to be. If you have any questions about this, whether it's the install process, maybe it's 6-8 months from now and you want to know if it's still working, let me know down in the comments section below. I'll do my best to answer them. And as always, I'll talk to you again soon.